Hirdistihitam Natesti Swapara Brantir Vishwasva Sruhut Atmana Tatapi Smaratam Saswat Kalesan Hamsi Hirdistihitam Natesti Swapara Brantir Vishwasya Sruhut Atmana Tatapi Smaratam Saswat Klesan Hamsi Hirdistihitam Natisti Swapara Brantir Vishwasya Sruhut Atmana Tatapi Smaratam Saswat Klesan Hamsi Hirdistihitam
Natesti Parabramti
Nastesti Parabranti
Vishwasya Sruhit Atmana
Vishwasya Sruhit Atmana
Tatapi Smaratham Sasvat
Tatapi Smaratam Saswat
Klesan Hamsi Hridistitaha
Klesa Hamsi Hirdistitiha
Natasti Parabranti
Natasti Swapara
Vishwasya Srut Atmana
Vishwasya Sruhut Atmana
Tatapi Smartan Sasvat
Tatapi Smaratam Saswat
Vesanamsi Hristika
Klesam Hamsi Hirdistita
Natesti Swapara Brantir
Natesti Swapara Brantir
Vishwasya Srut Atmana
Vishwasya Sruhudatmana
Tadapi Samtaram Subhat
Tatapi Smaratam Saswat
Klesan Hansi Kriti Siddham
Klesan Hamsi Hirdistita Natesti Swapara Brantir Vishwasya Sruhudatmana Tatapi Smaratam Saswat Klesan Hamsi Hirdistita. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: For you, the well-wishing friend and supreme soul of the universe, there is never any illusion of us in them. Yet even so, residing within the hearts of all, you eradicate the suffering of those who remember you constantly. Purport: The intelligent Queen Kunti here points out that even though Lord Krishna is dealing with her affectionately as a relative, he is not compromising his position as a well-wishing soul of the universe. In other words, the Lord doesn't play favors. As he says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 29, Samo ham sarva bhutesu, I am equal to everyone. So while the Lord reciprocates with all souls, it is natural that those who love him intensely receive his special attention, for they want him and nothing else. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tamil translation.
பிரபஞ்சத்தின் நண்பனும் பரமாத்மாவும் ஆகிய உனக்கு எங்களுக்கு அவர்களுக்கு என்ற மாயை ஒருபோதும் இருந்ததில்லை. அப்படி இருந்தும் உன்னை அடிக்கடி நினைப்பவர்களின் இதயத்தில் இருந்து கொண்டு அவருடைய துன்பங்களை நீ போக்குகிறாய். உறவினர் என்ற முறையில் பகவான் ஸ்ரீ கிருஷ்ணர் தன்னிடம் பாசத்துடன் நடந்து கொண்ட போதிலும் பிரபஞ்ச நலனை விரும்பும் ஆத்மாவாக உள்ள அவரது நிலையை அவர் விட்டுக் கொடுக்கவில்லை என்பதை புத்திசாலியான புத்தி தேவி இங்கு சுட்டிக்காட்டுகிறார். அதாவது பகவான் பாரபட்சம் பார்ப்பதில்லை. பகவத்கீதையில் 9:24 சமோகம் சர்வ பூதேஷு, நான் அனைவரிடமும் சமமாக நடந்து கொள்கிறேன் என்று அவர் கூறுகிறார். எனவே அனைத்து ஆத்மாக்களுடனும் பகவான் அன்பு பரிமாற்றம் கொள்ளும் அதே சமயம் அவர் ரைத்திரையும் விரும்பாத ஆத்மாவிடம் அவர் விசேஷ கவனம் செலுத்துவது இயற்கையை.
Hare Krishna. So today's chapter is the continuation from the last week's chapter. Last week's chapter we heard how Duryodhana and gang tried to murder the Pandavas and Queen Kunti by tricking them to stay in a house of made of black flammable material. So after escaping from that life-threatening attempt, the Pandavas they lived in the jungle and they pretended to be Brahmanas. This is after the advice of their spiritual master Dumna. Dumna was accompanying Brahmana wherever the Pandavas went, wherever Queen Kunti went, he followed them. So for some time they lived in the jungle, and while in the jungle, Krishna made a secret visit once to visit them, just see how they are doing. Just wanted to see them. In that visit, Krishna exhibited something very strange. He said he exhibited anger because he cannot see his devotees unnecessarily suffer. So while in the jungle, they found out that there was one king from the kingdom of Panchala. He was having a Swayambara ceremony for his daughter, Draupadi. King Drupada was having a Swayambara ceremony for his daughter. So all the Brahmanas heard this. They said, yes, let's go to this kingdom of Panchala. So their king, because of this ceremony, they will give a lot of donations. So these Brahmanas all, they survive on donations. So somehow these Pandavas, they heard about this. They said, yes, we are pretending to be Brahmanas. Let's go and see. And Dumna, their spiritual master at the time, also told them, he says, you fellas, you boys, you look all like Brahmanas only now, but actually you're all Kshatriyas. Let's see, maybe you can even partake in the Swayambara ceremony. So they went to this ceremony in this kingdom of Panchala, and there assembled in this ceremony were all the Kauravas, including Duryodhana, Karna, Sisupala, Jarasandha, all the gang were there. They all wanted Draupadi as their wife, so they were there. So the Pandavas were sitting on the Brahmana side. Brahman, they had an assembly. So they were just watching. They were just sitting there watching, and it was a few days affair. So every day, King Drupada will give lots of donation. So the Brahmanas all will go and queue up. But these Pandavas won't go and queue up with the Brahmanas, because they're pretending to be Brahmanas, but they're actually Kshatriyas. So their plan was, they might wait for this challenge, the ceremony. The king will put a challenge to this Kshatriya, and whoever could win in this challenge, they will win the hand of the queen. That's the usual thing. That's the usual system. So when the ceremony came, the challenge was actually to lift one very, very heavy bow, string it, and shoot an arrow through a cartwheel that is spinning, and you're supposed to hit a target from very far away. That was the usual. So the usual, all these Duryodhana and Sisupala and Jarasandha and Karna, they were among themselves, I will do this challenge, I will win the queen, you fellas all just have look at me, hey, you keep quiet lah, I will win lah. Like that, they were talking, they were boasting. Kshatriyas, and that's how we can tell somebody in a mode of passion, they cannot help themselves but to boast. They want to boast. So while this boasting was going on, the Pandavas were just very patiently, they were just sitting there watching. So when the challenge came, one by one they came. They tried to lift the bow. Some can't even lift the bow. They lift until they just fall, and they were defeated, in shame. So they all went back angry. The only one that could lift the bow, string it, and shoot the arrow was Duryodhana. because he was very strong. But when he shoot the arrow through the cartwheel, he missed the target. Okay, so the last person to come was Karna. Karna came. When Karna came there, he wanted to lift the bow. Draupadi said, I will not marry this man. This man is not a Kshatriya. He was like, he was like shocked, because the princess can do that. She can choose who she wants, who can accept, who don't accept, because it's her life. So when Karna heard this, he was like, so angry, he went back in shame. So they say, is there no one else? Is there no one else out there? The king asked. So Dumna looked at the Pandavas and said, Arjuna, go. Just go. So when Arjuna went, he started walking towards the bow. All of them start arguing, hey, how can Brahmana take part? This is only Kshatriya. Hey, like this, discussing. So in the end, what happened was the king said, King Drupada said, he said, the Brahmanas, there is nothing they cannot do, because actually they have the blessing of the Supreme Lord. In fact, the Kshatriyas learned and gained knowledge only from the Brahmanas. So the Brahmanas also should be given a chance. So Arjuna walked there. He walked to the bow. So he looked at Draupadi. Draupadi nodded her head, said, yes, okay, go ahead. Because she saw this was very handsome. She saw this was very handsome, very strong, very big, somehow, but muscle. So when Arjuna wanted to lift the bow, what he did was he bowed down to the bow first. He bowed down to the bow. He offered flowers first. He walked around it 7 times, worshiping. Then he lifted the bow. He lifted the bow. He strung it. He strung the bow and he shot the arrow. When he shot the arrow, he pulled for a long time. He concentrated. He looked. He let go. He hit the target. Passed through the cartwheel, hit the target. So all the Brahmanas saw this. They were happy. They all, yay! Brahmanas for the first time, they whacked the Kshatriyas. So when King Drupada saw this, he said, well, he is a very fine young man. So why not? Can one? Kshatriya, Brahmana man can marry lower. If you're a Brahmana, you can marry Kshatriya. You're a Brahmana, you can marry a Vaishya. You can even marry a Sudra. Can but is not the norm. So when Draupadi came down and put a galan on Arjuna, the Kshatriya king saw, hey, how can this happen? This one is wrong. Hey, this one, King Drupada saw this. He said, ask the general to prepare the army. There's going to be a fight here. This Kshatriya king saw, they're not going to let us go. They were saying, no, how can this King Drupada called us here just to insult us? We cannot let this go. So by the time this noise was happening, Arjuna grabbed Draupadi's hand and they were about to leave. They were leaving already. They were leaving the ceremony. So the Kshatriya king, what they did was they jumped on the main stage and they held a sword to King Drupada. They threatened, they said, you have shamed us, we are going to kill you now, all of that. So the Pandavas were walking out already. They got their prize, they were going already. Then Dumna looked at them and said, hello, this is your father-in-law. Are you just going to leave? Then Yudhishthira said, no, we cannot do this. So they turned back. Arjuna started fighting with all the Duryodhana and gang. And then fighting with Karna, and Bhima started to fight with Duryodhana with the tree. He was having that gada. This Bhima got no weapon. He just grabbed the nearest tree, pulled out a tree from the road. He started backing, to. So this was going on. Okay, so the Kshatriyas were shocked, saying, where could Brahmana like that one? We have never come across anybody like this. Karna is undefeated in shooting arrow. There's only one person that can defeat him, that is Arjuna. This person must be Arjuna. Oh, that big fella must be Bhima. They were talking like that. So like that, they were whacking. the Karna, Durdana all ran away, saved the father-in-law. So this father-in-law also didn't know this actually the Pandavas. They just walked away. While all of this was going on, in the crowd also Krishna and Balaram. They were watching the drama. They didn't do anything. They didn't say anything. They just watching the drama. I said, the Pandavas are alive. They're still around. They're very good. So from this incident, after some time, the Pandavas went back to Hastinapur. Because of the incident of their attempt to kill them, to murder them using the house of flag, Dhritarashtra was very embarrassed. All the noble persons in Hastinapur, they use this house of flag incident to pressure Dhritarashtra to give the Pandavas land. This one all happened because your son jealous of them. They could not maintain themselves. You must give them land. They must have their own place. So their own place became Indraprastha. So this story starts when Krishna came to visit the Pandava in Indraprastha. In this chapter, it starts here. So when Krishna came, he came in state. In state means what? No, he came with his army, he came with his ministers, he came with his, like a king. He came as a king. Before that, he came just by himself. He and Balaram came to visit Dhritarashtra just by themselves, rely on him. This time he came in state. Why? Because he wanted to tell everybody, I am Krishna, the king of Dwarka, Dwarkadish. I acknowledge this as a kingdom. That's why I am coming as state. So it is described here when Krishna came, the Pandavas saw Krishna. The Pandavas, their reaction is as if they got their life back. All the while they were drowning. They saw Krishna only, Krishna. So what happened was, immediately when Krishna came, Krishna fell at the feet of Yudhishthir and Bhima. Krishna fell at the feet of Yudhishthir and Bhima. Why? Because Yudhishthir and Bhima are elder to Krishna. They were elder. And then Krishna saw Arjuna. He hugged Arjuna because same age. And then Nakula and Sahadev, they fell at the feet of Krishna. Why? Because they were younger to Krishna. This is Vaishnava etiquette. Should show respect according to age and also to. But when Krishna went to see his aunt Queen Kunti, when he went to see her, she fell at her feet. There are two reasons why Krishna did that. Number one was to show etiquette, Vaishnava, because she's an auntie, she's very much elder to Krishna. So when Krishna fell at Kunti Devi's feet, he did that for two reasons. Number one, because of etiquette. Okay, etiquette. This is very interesting. Why? Because while preparing for this class, I was listening to a class by Radhanath Maharaj, and he was telling in 1966, Prabhupada gave initiation to two brothers in US. So when the initiation ceremony was going on, the two brothers invited their mother to witness this. So after initiation, Srila Prabhupada told these two boys, you must give dandavats to your mother. So these boys, they didn't think much, Prabhupada said, do, finish. So they fell at the feet of their mother. The mother was looking and she was confused. She said, what is going on here? This is not their culture. Western culture, they don't give obeisances to anybody. They don't give respects to anyone. So these boys, they fell at her feet, and Srila Prabhupada saw the look of confusion on the mother's face. Srila Prabhupada gave a short class. He says, this is proper Vedic etiquette. This is cultured people, Aryans. They behave like this. Why? Because mother and father, they sacrifice so much for the children. They should be given respect. Irregardless of whatever, socially they are right, they did wrong, they're nice, that is different matter. The fact that they have given birth, they have sacrificed, they deserve respect. So children should respect the parents. And then Srila Prabhupada further he went to say that for a woman like you, a mother, to give birth to two boys like this is very, very rare. It is very glorious to have children that is very inclined to spiritual life. You are not an ordinary lady. So she was getting an education in spiritual life. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned about Queen Kunti. See, Queen Kunti also is a very good example of a very cultured person who had wonderful children. She had 3 children: Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Arjuna. Nakula and Sahadev is actually her step sons. Not her step, adopted sons. Because she was married to King Pandu. Pandu had 2 wives, Kunti and Madri. Madri gave birth to Nakula and Sahadev. Because Madri decided to die with Pandu, she decided, so the boys were under her care. So here, Krishna is giving respect. This is the second reason why. One is because of etiquette. Number 2, the main reason here is because Krishna always has the love of his devotees in his heart. Just like the devotees have Krishna in their heart, Krishna has his loving devotees in his heart. In fact, most people are scared of her. You read the chapter only, you'll be scared. Why? Because in that chapter, Krishna, Queen Kunti offers prayers to Krishna, asking Krishna, please give me more problems. Which person in the world today you approach them, they go pray to God, ask him for more problems. There's something wrong with you. We go to God, pray. We don't want problem. We want to enjoy. We want to have more, luxury. But no, she's praying to Krishna. Krishna, please give me more problems. Please give me more problems. Why? She says, simply by having difficulties, we have the tendency to remember God. Simply for that reason. And if you are fortunate enough to have darshan of God, whether in personal form or in vigraha form, immediately, simply by looking at the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, all your sins are burnt away. Very nice prayer. So she's very, very unique in this sense. So Queen Kunti, she says here in this chapter that she know that she was always under the protection of Krishna simply because Krishna always thinks of his devotees. And when Krishna sent Akrur to Hastinapur to inquire about the Pandavas, what's going on? Remember, there was one chapter. Akrur visited Hastinapur. Akrur is Kunti's brother. She says that the moment I heard that my brother is here inquiring about us on your instructions, I knew that we will always be safe. We will always be protected by you. So this is the attitude of a devotee. A devotee, even though some difficulty come their way. Queen Kunti was narrating to Krishna in this instance that what has happened to them ever since her children were born. Literally from teenage days, their lives were in danger, constantly in danger. Constantly, attempt after attempt, poisoning, trying to burn them, trying to slaughter them, trying to get them bitten by snakes. So many attempts. And Queen Kunti, she was inconceivable. It's actually very difficult to understand. Why? Because she says, I'm grateful for all this difficulty. Can you tell me which mother, which father would wish that their children get into this kind of difficulty? Where God? So it's very difficult to understand. No? So this is the exalted position of Queen Kunti. So she was saying, all this difficulty came. I was not afraid at all. I had no fear because I know that you, being the super soul in everyone's heart, know what is our desire, and we only wish that we always remember you. In all circumstances, we remember you. So Krishna is very wonderful in the sense that, yes, he says in Bhagavad Gita, Samoham Sarva Bhutesu, I'm equal to everybody. I'm equal to all. But what can Krishna do if his devotees constantly remember him within their hearts? What can he do? He also has to reciprocate. No, you cannot just buat tattau. Especially when it comes to love. You cannot buat tattau. So Krishna is so wonderful in this way that no matter, in this material world, no matter what happens, whether we think of Krishna favorably or not favorably, Krishna's attitude is what? No, he would think like, oh, my child is thinking of me. That's how Krishna's attitude is whether you think of him in favorably or not favorably, that is not important. The fact of the matter is Krishna is just happy that you are thinking of him. This is Krishna. Krishna is so wonderful like this. The explanation the acharyas give is that in this material world, everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. If you were to think of Krishna unfavorably like Kamsa or Ravana, that is a temporary material affliction. The moment he gets liberation, that is a permanent situation. The permanent situation is he will come to realize that, hey, I've got eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. I've got nothing to fear. This chanda, these bad feelings I have and all this are all temporary. It's not significant. From the point of view of the eternal spirit soul, it is not significant at all. So Kunti Devi, on that basis, she's not wishing that her children have problem, but she acknowledges the fact that in this material world, you cannot escape from having problem. If you ever get this idea into your head that, oh, I want to be happy forever and ever, that is what my friend say, mimpi sedih. It's a sad dream. Don't wish for it. Don't even think about it. This world is full of dukkalayam sasvatam. It's full of misery, and whatever happiness that comes is temporary at best. Temporary at best. So Queen Kunti is acknowledging this. It's not that she's wishing difficulty on her children. Please understand. People misunderstand her. And she also understands that great soul that thinks of the Supreme Lord constantly, that great soul that think of the Lord constantly, that soul will be saved from the repetition of birth and death. Not the soul that thinks that, oh, I can solve my own problems, oh, I don't need the Supreme Lord, why should I pray to the Supreme Lord, who is the Supreme Lord? This is what she's saying here. So he says here, it is natural that those who love him intensely receive his special attention, for they want him and nothing else. This is the characteristic of a pure devotee. So, having said that, this is Queen Kunti. A lot can be said about her. I have to give respects to the other 5 princesses. Okay, this chapter is Krishna marries 5 princesses. So, after Krishna visited the Pandavas in Indraprastha, and he was asked by Yudhishthir, you stay here, please. You please stay. Since you're here already, you please stay here. They said, yeah, of course, I come to stay here. I come to stay for a little while, spend time with you, have some fun. So shortly after that, Krishna and Arjuna decided to go hunting because Kshatriyas, they like to hunt. So they decided to go hunting. So while hunting, Krishna told Arjuna, he says, this one Kandahar forest is there. I want you to burn it all. Why? Because Agni Deva want to bless you. So Agni, he's hungry now, he wants to eat. So we're going to give him this whole forest. So Arjuna shot this arrow, said some mantra, fire came out, this whole forest was burnt. And from Agni Deva, Agni Deva gave Arjuna the Gandavi bow. He gave the bow and he gave very special arrows. He gave the chariot with the flag of Hanuman. That's where it came from Agni. Then shortly after this, they went to take bath in the Yamuna. While taking bath in the Yamuna, Arjuna saw there was a very, very beautiful girl. She was taking her bath also. So Krishna said, "You go and ask this girl, who is she?" Okay. So Arjuna went and approached her and spoke to her very nicely, very respectfully. He said, "My dear mother, who are you? Why are you here alone?" So she recognized, "Oh, this is Arjuna. Arjuna is a very good friend of Krishna." So she began to answer Arjuna by saying, "My name is Kalandi. My name is Kalandi. I am living here in Yamuna, performing austerity and sacrifice for simply having Lord Vishnu as my husband. No one else can be my husband except for Lord Vishnu." She said this, So Arjuna heard this and he said, "Oh, okay, thank you very much." Went to tell Krishna. Krishna didn't say anything. He immediately just got on his chariot, went to her, said, "Come, let's go." She looked at him, she immediately recognized, this is Krishna, he's the very source of Vishnu. So this is how he married her. Not really married her, but took her to fulfill her desires. And then Krishna, let me see, where is it? Yamuna River, okay, Kalandi, okay. Then later on, while that Kandahar forest was being burnt, there was one demon there by the name of Maya Danvi. So Arjuna saved this demon. So as a token of gratitude, this demon built one very beautiful hall in Indraprastha. This is the same hall that bewildered Duryodhana. Once Duryodhana came to visit the Pandavas and he was, as usual, very envious. So this hall was so fantastic. It was designed in such a way where water would seem like it's a solid floor, whereas a solid floor would look like it's water, like they're very, 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 So our friend here came here, as usual, he was boasting, this is not so nice, like this, as usual, what else is he supposed to do? So like that, he fell into the pond and he got wet and he got, embarrassed and all that kind of thing. So after that, Kanda forest, okay. Then Krishna went to Dwarka and he had a nice wedding ceremony for Kalandi, married her. And then he went to see the king of Avanti. King Avanti had a sister by the name of Mitravinda. Okay. She desired Krishna from the very beginning. So this is the thing about meditating on Krishna. If you meditate upon him, he will never disappoint you. So this story here is him going and fulfilling the wishes of all his pure devotees. These are all his pure devotees. Kalandi is pure devotee, Mitravinda is pure devotee. So Mitravinda, he went to approach this King Avanti. This King Avanti is a friend of Krishna. It's a friend of Krishna. Okay. So when he saw that Krishna wanted to marry his sister, he said, by all means, please take my sister. My sister is thinking nothing of but you only. You please take her. Then Krishna went to Ayodhya, where there was a king by the name of Nanajit. And he had a daughter by the name of Satya. Okay. So this king, he said to Krishna, he says, there is nobody more qualified to be my daughter's husband than you. Okay. But we are Kshatriyas. Battery is low, 7%. We are Kshatriyas, so we have to give some challenge. So this king, Nanajit said that to win Satya's hand, you have to fight 7 bulls. 7 bulls. So before that, princesses came all, they all cannot fight. How to fight with bull? There are also 7 bulls. So Krishna said, yes, to fulfill the desire of my devotees, I will fulfill this condition. So what Krishna did was he expanded himself 7 times, and everybody saw this. Everybody saw this. Krishna expanded himself 7 times and beat all the 7 bulls. That's how he won the hand of Satya. And then next one, he married Bhadra after abducting her from a Swamvara ceremony, and he also married another girl by the name of Lakshmana, the royal daughter of King Madra. So this is how Krishna went around. He went collecting princesses. He's collecting his princesses. So these are the 5 princesses. After this chapter, after this, we'll hear about the killing of Bhaumasura. This is where he'll get 16,108 wives. So actually, when we say Krishna got 16,000 wives, actually that's not so accurate, because Dwarka had 90,000 palaces. Dwarka, his city, had 90,000 palaces. So there was a question asked in class, Radhanath Maharaj class, why did Krishna wanted to marry so many wives? So there was 2 answers. Number 1 was, all these wives are actually his pure devotees. They were great yogis in many lifetimes. They were performing severe austerities. They were simply having the desire of simply pleasing Krishna in whatever way possible. Some even very specific, they wanted to become his wife. So that is the first reason. The second reason was, it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Paritaranayam sadhunam vinasyacha duskritam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. So Krishna appears for 3 reasons. Number 1, to bless his devotees. Number 2, to kill demons. And number 3, to re-establish the principles of religion. So to perform the last 2, that means to kill demons and to re-establish the principle of religions, Krishna needed the assistance of all the favorable kings. So the easiest way to get favorable cooperation of all his kings is to become their relation. All his kings become his father-in-law. So he had many father-in-laws. So through these kings, he taught them the science of Krishna consciousness, and these kings, showing good example, Makkal will follow. So this is how everybody gets saved. That is the main duty of king, actually. So this chapter is actually very nice chapter. Krishna marries the 5 princesses. Next is what chapter? Killing of Bhaumasura. Hare Krishna, I will end here. The killing of the demon Narakusura. Hare Krishna. Any Gelugor?
Nice, wonderful pastime, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
There was one question from last week's class. With regards to the story about the burning of the house of Lac. There are many versions of this story. Just like in India, Mahabharata is translated to many languages. In each language, they have their own version. Okay, so the version that makes sense to me, there are many versions. The version that made sense to me was the version that I told last week. The version that is in our Iskcon, you go and read and see. I don't know if you've read or not. You go and read. It's very controversial. It's very controversial because some accuse Kunti Devi of being a murderer, because in that house of Lac, not only Duryodhana's spy died, but there was an innocent tribal woman with her sons died also. So it's very difficult to handle it with the public. How do you explain it? So the only version that made sense was the one that I told. The last week one, I told that version. So that's the only one that makes sense. Devotees don't commit murders. They don't wish any bad on anyone. Hare Krishna. N. Okay, N stream. Okay.
What is this?
N.
And
Yes. Seri.